he definitely has our blessings. You know, he gave it everything while he was with us, and we really appreciated that. We got a great deal out of this, you know, like we won a championship, so we're happy, and honestly it's on to the next, you know. Honestly, I've lost no sleep, not disappointed, you know. It's on to the next.
DJ91. Hey yo, what up? This is DJ91 back with another video, and this video will be about when Kawhi left the Raptors despite winning a championship. And of course, I am a Raptors fan myself. I have to admit, I was a little salty when Kawhi left us to join the Clippers. But I didn't react like how most Raptors fans did, crying a river, being all upset, throwing a fit just because he didn't stay, since I was already appreciative that while he was here, he honored the trade, he showed up, didn't sit out, gave it his all, and helped us win our first and only championship so far that we had been waiting for 24 years. Plus, there was no guarantee that he would stay with 1 year left on his contract. After we won, I no longer cared if he was gonna leave. If he wants to go home, let him go home. And yeah, we tried our best to convince him to stay with the Coactus plan and the Kawhi and Dine thing where he gets to eat at any Toronto restaurant for free, but hey, it was for the best. This year marks the 5-year anniversary of the 2019 championship against the Golden State Warriors. And as we reflect, there are still some ungrateful Raptors fans out there on social media who are still mourning the departure of Kawhi, simply because we've gradually become worse over the years. And now with only 1, soon to be 0 players left from the championship team, we are now currently in a rebuild after a horrendous 25-win season. Which happens in sports sometimes. You're just not going to be good every single year. There are going to be times when you'll be trash. And as a fan, you just got to tough it out and be willing to ride or die for your team until things get better. Which we had already been doing for years way before the championship. Back in the days of Vince Carter getting traded for nothing, using the #1 pick on Andrea Bargnani, Chris Bosh leaving us for the Miami Heat, Rudy Gay hitting game winners on us, Kobe scoring 81 points on us, the LeBronto series, the list goes on and on. A lot of fans say the reason we suck now is solely based on Kawhi leaving. But I'm gonna break down 3 reasons why it was best for the Raptors to not re-sign Kawhi Leonard. Before I go any further, hit that subscribe button. This is YouTube, not OnlyFans. It's free to subscribe and watch videos on here. Now, back to the content. Reason number 1, cap space. After the championship, Kawhi opted out of his contract to become an unrestricted free agent after declining his $21.3 million player option. The Raptors were able to give him the most money as he was eligible for the 5-year max, which at the time was $190 million before the new CBA kicked in. Hard to believe that number was the max considering the fact that Scottie Barnes just got 5 years, $225 million guaranteed, with an extra $45 million in bonuses. But anyways, back to Kawhi. It was reported that if he was gonna stay with the Raptors, it would likely be on a short-term deal. Kawhi was planning to stay on a 1+1 deal, which is a 2-year contract with a player option on the 2nd year. But let's say Kawhi stays, and instead of that short-term deal, he signs the 5-year max instead. It would have been very difficult to pay everybody else and keep the same pieces around him. Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, and Fred VanVleet all had 1 year left on their contracts. Danny Green, aka the other guy in the trade, was an unrestricted free agent who had mentioned that there was no guarantee that the Raptors would be able to keep him after the season. However, Kawhi's departure allowed for some financial flexibility to keep some of the supporting cast beyond next season. Siakam got a 4-year max, Lowry got a 1-year extension, and VanVleet got a big 4-year contract the following year. Reason number 2, his health. Although he was coming off an injury-plagued season where he only played 9 games his last year with the Spurs, we had Kawhi at his apex for the 1 year that we had him. Because ever since he got to the Clippers, although he was still in his prime, his health was slowly but surely declining, with his knees becoming arthritic. In Game 4 of the 2nd round of the 2021 playoffs versus the Utah Jazz, Kawhi partially tore his ACL in his right knee, putting an end to his season, which killed the Clippers' chances of winning a championship that year. They were still able to win the game, tying the series 2-2, and were able to win the series in 6 games, completing a 2-0 comeback after winning 4 straight, making it their first ever conference finals appearance. But without Kawhi, the Clippers would lose in 6 games to the Phoenix Suns. Kawhi would sit out the entire 2021-22 season while recovering from the torn ACL. Without him, the Clippers would be mediocre, finishing as an 8 seed with a 42-40 record, which was good enough to qualify for the play-in tournament, but they would lose both games to Minnesota and New Orleans, missing out on the playoffs.
Weak ass Clippers. Beat they motherfucking ass.
2022-23 season, Kawhi would come back, played 52 games, averaging 23.8 points per game. The Clippers would finish as a 5th seed with a 44-38 record. But come playoff time, Kawhi would get injured yet again. The Clippers were facing the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Clippers won Game 1 off a 38-point performance by Kawhi. The Suns would win Game 2, tying the series, but for the Clippers, they were about to meet their doom, as Kawhi would sit out Game 3 and the rest of the series with a torn meniscus which he had suffered at the end of Game 1. Even though it didn't seem like he was really injured, neither did it look like he was playing hurt the whole time. Without him, the Clippers would lose in 5 games. Next season was pretty much the same story for Kawhi and the Clippers. He shows up and balls out during the regular season, Clippers finish middle of the pack, and the first round series against Dallas lost in 6 games, with Kawhi only playing 2 of those games due to yet another knee injury. Now his availability come playoff time is starting to become an issue. But yet he had plans of playing for Team USA in the Olympics this summer. Reason number 3, his demands. In free agency, while Kawhi was exploring his options, he thought that the Raptors weren't good enough to repeat, which I personally disagree with. I believe had he decided to just stay another year and run it back, they would have won again in 2020. But the only way Kawhi was going to re-sign with them is if they traded for Paul George, who was on the OKC Thunder at the time. OKC offered a trade proposal to the Raptors that included Paul George and Russell Westbrook. In order to match the salaries and for the trade to go through, the Raptors would have to give up Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, and multiple first-round picks, which would have been a stupid thing to do because you just won a championship. Why would you break up that team just to make Kawhi happy, especially since he was a 1-year rental who didn't want to stay? Masai Ujiri didn't budge and was willing to keep the team together, even if that meant letting Kawhi leave. And after Paul George recently confirmed on his podcast that both him and Kawhi could have ended up playing together in Toronto that year, as usual, some Raptors fans on social media were whining and complaining that this didn't end up happening. Which I don't understand, because we still won the championship. To break up that team, lose assets, and mortgage our future to create a super team that possibly won't work is just stupid. If I were Masai Ujiri, I wouldn't have budged either. I would have given Kawhi an ultimatum here and be like, look, we'd love for you to come back, but we don't need Paul George. I'm not trading the guys you just won a championship with. Either you run it back or leave. But ultimately, Kawhi was really just using the Raptors as leverage so that the Clippers would sell the farm to get Paul George, which they ended up doing and regretting later on, because Kawhi was threatening to join the Lakers with LeBron and AD. But of course, the funny thing was, not only did Kawhi make the wrong choice by leaving right away, he made the wrong choice by going to the Clippers, because the Lakers won a championship the following year in the bubble, while him and Paul George couldn't even reach the finals in the 5 years they played together. And as of now, Paul George is no longer a Clipper and has taken his talents to Philly, leaving Kawhi behind. In conclusion, Kawhi staying on the Raptors long term just wouldn't be an ideal situation. It was meant to be a short-term thing. The whole point of trading for Kawhi wasn't to build a dynasty or go back-to-back. When we made that trade, we were desperate to win a championship, not multiple championships. We were in win-now mode, DeRozan wasn't getting it done for us, and our championship window was closing, so we had to do something to make it happen. We ended up winning the championship, mission accomplished. Now stop complaining. Now, on to a new chapter. Right now, it's all about developing for the future, so it's not our time to compete just yet. I think the future is looking bright with Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickley. We'll have to wait and see how this new young core works out, but I'm still hopeful that we'll one day get another superstar. But only if that helps us win the chip. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Giannis in 2027 if he decides to leave Milwaukee. We'll see. Anyways, this is DJ91 signing off. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. More content on the way. Let's go Raptors, we the North. Peace out everyone. Thanks for watching and God bless.
DJ91